Namu akwabon from like black media. Abusia enra numre anase no anadwo na president of the land, President John Dramani Mahama, release a press conference anase press release our name ensentwerefo ewo Ghana ebo modern say omu ebihia na abusia omu hia no ene questions obi ebusebusa ne de obi ebusebusa ne de na eno ene abusia eto amu akokosi say ye chairman twibo asia ko Wontumi chi omo che no mmele bia nam so kwampo man beje terms Ghana fo mun soli ho menye Ghana fo biom ne nasefo a ne okọ wedding ase okọ ayi ase kuna mpa na ye de ebo ne samrane am na ye de gina baba ayo no eno na waka se sa asem no ye nkrofo bebere se sebi eto atwa eto nyentwa ekura afi no mafale ni papers ne ni case ni nyina wi a enche kura ebetuma ba se wi ebi bosum we se nkwa wi enko wura bosum foforo ye bosum duni mu no na chairman twibo asia ko Wontumi ye de ne court for prosecution abusia ensem we se ni afoforo bebre na papa kan ne no na maja ako asole wo ho a watu ja papa se wo hwa President Dramani Mahama adwuma wo dipa na de compare previous government former president na adodanko Akufo-Addo a wutimi se sabi ensesanye bebre ewo hunu obi a wo bu oman no de na koma ne kra nyina eto honom e de ama oman no na hunu obi nso a bedi wa ne bedi anko se ne kuro bi efrent ye no saa na oman dada na etwa mu no eba be ye omo de omo ba se ka bedi anko pa omo pese ko mu bedi oman ni Ghana ni sika na wa abro mo nko abusu eja wato no keka nsem bebra mpese o ka me nko je nchemu ni afofra no wo ka ebe sisi ye abuja bebi a wo hwe me bia wo haw ne amane kodan na bia da eda wo so bia no bomode se onimi bedi nkomo ye de samna nwanwaso bi aba e frene se eyesika kokko na gold samna wo haw bia da eda wo so bia wo hia sa samna we se bi afi wo ye bema wo hwe me wo bema sam wo pom bema ye ketwa brabeji bula matali eduro bi na wo bema enye kese watimi abo adwuma so ache e wo empem ye de akwankyere bi aba abuja no ye hwehwe wo hyebrim a ye frene se mpelifo akwankyere anase wo betima frene back to sender onipa bi ha onipa bi tata wato bet e won ho se wo sanity bi obeku bomode so be fa numbers na egu screen ase na woni mi akasa me hwehwe wo hyebrim wi a me bomode se me kire wo ne wo beye
boko sa ne ye kwonu sanse enura anwume bi esi ye no e wo se Ghana fo enyamre ye enyamre na ye pense mu echechire mu edema Ghana fo intense sa e wo Ghana ha se ye be yi president na ye yi president no less than a year awake mame na wase enura wa mabia ho okay o question ni bibisa ma no bibisa ma why enti no ye bebo e wo ha se na Ghana fo hunti awake nso ejina me chance amene ne e ba be ye adwuma no on say less than a year na president amano ho kwan say oman mu nipa e de adwuma e hye mensa after adwuma me ye nyina from 2013 no kwa de wo hwe adwuma no started from 2014 de me ye nyina Ghana for show me red card e ma mi ko opposition etimi mi ko opposition no men tu bata Ghana ha ya na metena ye oman mu na me wo eniema Ghana for famu 8 years no wonu ankasa so yetimamuni wa witness bi wo hu bi pa wo hu se Ghana for ewura hu yehia mu ni ahokyeremu etu anu ankasa hu se afa de na Ghana for osu se nyankopon kaje ya makoma na o meji Ghana esan se mehwe eniema esi ye ansa na president Mahama Ghana for show ni red card no a adapatwa entro ne nsam a ye kadigu nusu no a wokofie no odisu ne kwa se Ghana for mo krampa de pa na eni ni trim se bia ko besa be the last time I quite remember me ni Joyce Muktari Bawa edi nkomo na that day no ye president Mahama birthday na mi bisa ne say Auntie Joyce ebra mu lusu ye na mu kofie ni anim se oben president Mahama na adwin bi woni trim pa se obesa babiem looking at eniema eto no wo Ghana ha said ye dinatem for the explorer ye den any bas branding any sema hodo a ye so a ye asebe ni wo kan ni kura mama lodi ha first lady ebi kan no wo timu paso obesa aba no se da bi because na no den but okwatena akire no this for penny for se da bi wo beba na Ghana for no nkasa tena akire first year second year no I say he was vindicated. Ni nyumedie vindicated no. na memo vindicating good governance ya no pe development e de ama wo man no enti na Ghana fo na e de toto ho a omuhunu say President Mahama ye ne wo endi ne yie ufiri numedie papa ase yeah, what's enka wodi kwa awie ye but ya ante wase because of energy crisis dumso a wo ba ye a wo betomu enti enipa sabe ne ho ye ahyi ne ho funu Ghana ne ho ye Ghana for time Ghana for jojo no edi na tema bi ka na busua no afa ne ye sufre nyankopon na ye sufre ne se omra meje wo man no na se Ghana for beto aba edi ama president na 8 months o se minie make us say be reset agenda no bintwa 1 year less than a year ni emetimi aye kakra ma ye adru enie na sa kakra no nso no nipa badwemba bia edi ho adanse say gradually omanya ewiase ni amansebu Akonta say esa memu ofon esa ya memu tantan esa nkuro no bo esa ya tirimodin entine ebeteki ye decades 30 years ansa na yetimi asori agina ye nanso because ebra ye debt restructuring program na ye kase in the history of Ghana amemuo ebi ensi da International Monetary Fund there yako but see ebe go to level see anya junk economy o man economy no asay your debt to GDP around 104%. International community ebe close wamo apono ede amaye say muni any fiscal space enti ye mmo bosia. For the first time in decades, yetimi ko si yakwa akope koko loan. Ni akachira mo say, mo de ya na mo ba bosia na mo bonu ntimi ntua emo akwa didi ma ya yenja bi emfa ngum. Eti ekoji koko loan na nye dey na yenya bi ye kwo bond market ya yenya bi. External creditors nyina bu oman ya ammo brase bi akohwifo oman ya sebi akohwifo ena elidi oman no. Eti pempenso ayedru ye no abrofo economist fo nyina atwere de ba say ebeteki ye decades not 10 years not 20 years but after about 30 years na no na make Professor Bokenom and after Professor of Medicine no mom keka ho enyina eti ena ye friend say Dr. Professor Rans for Jampo eka ye ne say e wo sana na akufu ado ememu no ho ye de ko university tertiary institutions mu no na ye ho research sa na memo no bebu here no yes wonu atim ne yakwa akwapai ni ya hwe research ko ne yakọ bisa ye yakọ hwe na adwiri mu se papa na de be pa na de woni tirim because ekwan of us bu o my 8 years no sir Professor Rans for Jampo class ono ye political science lecturer class won tiase a me sa sabi ni me certificate sa sabi minu mienu ye ne abeti ase diplo essential for 6 months to abansoro so ye dey say smart ni age certificate ni ati esim ni yesen chief one dey sa so ye ni ebeti ase do no ya professor kra wa ye chese wa kire politics ekomu ankasa edom suko se e wo se ye hyede nwamre ye research e wo papa na mamu ohu because odwindwindwindwa na dey na age wonsem but for 8 months President John Dramani Mahama say oka obeye waye bida ena enipa nso woye mfomso na se wankasa wotena se na realize say no 1+1 we ne ye 2 bad na mkoye ne 3 ada na mkoye ne -2 no ade we ye ntwe ye me minister we na wo senka me ye ni say na wo senka minister we ye ade a we me calling it to order na wo se me ye ni say watena se steady wonu ankasa na memuo o ye vice president or be take over as president na wo ko opposition 8 years wonu ankasa analyze situation no ehunu se bana wo ba no ba adwuma ye man yi so osu onko biem but enu hye ni tirimu se me bepa hunyade ni sika President Mahama se woni tirimu se bepa hunyade ni sika nanka o ye greedy nanka ye greedy because ede na nyankopon ye o wi ase president ede na nyankopon ye from assembly member to member of parliament here to minister to vice president here to president ede be biem na aka wo wi ase ehira be biem ka be na apesa wudem a wo na amuo a friend say helicopter bay jet bay a dear dwene na pese wudi e dear na wo pese wunya yankopon fa ma wa obesa ma be fun adwapade ne ehunyade enti we no wutimi so oba amemwo semi bebu oman enti amemwo mo bebu ye so the first 8 months was ma aveli mu ne ya na me ka che wo so onu kuna wa ye busy kura tutu kwa ye transit kura no wa aveli no wuchi wu see you ne managing director wo te mantwa baby ye fra wa wonfa na da wa sembe ba no behu ono kura president ni chief of staff no omo ye ready say Ghana Central for the emayeni e dia na Ghana for ka questions be na mo wode mamie mo mebisa me na anu ye bia memfa emamo enti enua onyamre reset agenda no senia wafa no senia wakono no enye kasa pi boss ma me first video no about reset agenda sika botini said de watimi revive economy no enkakra oni gold board sami jamfi oni finance minister ato is forcing okay ato is forcing ya wamu ye education sector sikapudu a ye de awuramu enti no yentie
na yemra in a significant endorsement of Ghana's economic recovery efforts global everyday lives. As the popular saying goes, the real economy is not in statistics but in the pockets of the people. And that is why I take pride not only in the clear signs of recovery and stability, but in the direct relief Ghanaians are experiencing from our economic policies. Today we're seeing a stabilization in the price of goods and services, with inflation dropping significantly from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in July 2025, the lowest inflation rate recorded since December 2021. But this isn't just about numbers, it's about being felt across markets and homes. The prices of key commodities are falling, and for the first time in years, brands and businesses are actively advertising their price reductions, a sign that recovery is not only real but tangible. Official trade associations have presented
okay, eti we say no about the economy no na oka for years in the Ghana inflation yakwadru 54% as at August. Now Ghana Statistical Service HSA inflation is saying is around 11% na just say a drop abafom inflation no abafom pa dia abafom pa a drop abafom ya Ghana for di ho adanse say na wo market ya enwane bo abafom oh yeah enuane boa ye dey abafom agibaifo ba o chehene ne ka agibaifo ba nani nso ade a oye kurasi ni na be na dwene say onte ne niam abo so because eya na me ka say emire bi duye na $1 eye be say 8 cedis and 10 cedis na se ye tom milk 8 cedis 9 cedis na se dollar timi call 17 cedis ni eto milk bomu ekodu 24 cedis na se dollar ba bebedu be se 10 cedis na da so tom milk 25 cedis ya utiri mu oden o ye criminal o ye greedy eno na ya no wo kon na yifo no foreigners na je market be eniema pa dollar ni france ya se eba for tete so no eniema no dudu na ya de ye import de ba eniema ni bebre na de tete so no anwanu mu ni emu mu ni ade no dudu no ya de import de ba dudu na ye wo Ghana ha say no wo mu decide ye say o mu nteso but almost yinsu exchange rate ena tutu mu omu yinsu exchange rate tutu mu ndisa mo te Ghana ha no mo na sa foreigners eje market ne ebo ne bo a wonim the last time bi social media TikTok so ena eya na me top perfume bi de ma me ba ne sapon eti me wu perfume bi Ghana ni ton o se say 200 250 no mu ne ade e wana mu se China ni bi nso say wono so wo ayi enkofo market wo kashi the same perfume no o se sex e said that be 300 o se sex ya 300 but Ghana ni so wo kashi wa one perfume no 200 so o China na kofa yo China ni no wanye duty no de ba so ye duty no de ba ye wo so ye duty na de ba ye o se sika no yes o se sika no e de $4 we say dia wo se sika no e de $4 mu no But any price control system. Ghana ni fi say ade we woto ne 10 cedis a Ghana fo adwadifuo ya wo mu gu Ghana ha ko China kokwan so ba ade we woto ne 10 cedis a owo so woto ne 100 Ghana cedis. Yes, me ade we Ghana dwadini tini ano omo ne Nigeria fo kono Nigeria ne 10 cedis obeto ne 12 cedis ketwa bi ensa sana Nigeria eti ai ka Nigeria dwadie sana mu didwa say ye 10 cedis obeto ne ba Ghana ni fa de we 10 cedis from China obeto no to say 1,100 Ghana cedis me fani ama wo China sometimes me share prices eniyeme bi aye ton wa e wo Ghana ha say ya eye me bisa mo say adey ento mo pesa foreigners ni na akọ even though the law is the law but okwakofa de ba na de 10 cedis wo de feduty esoso na se wuntimi nton 20 wo be ton 100 cedis adey eniyema eye wo Ghana ha say no enne dollar na e shoot from 8 cedis ekọ 17 cedis Ghana niyema Unilever niyema e ba market ya wo mo eton wo so mo teso no say no mo teso di free but the import ediba no yetete so yetete bebre eso so education sector ye bozu benya mame owo President Mahama Kasai hwe MPP wa ban mu no reveal any person oba free senior school policy obe reveal so wase obe cancel hey ofa dictionary na say okogego na say wo bo reveal ube reveal bibia baby anyone me ma say cancel revealed okay reveal oh review oh sorry bro for not here fast review adwene ne ma ne dos review oh fanje wunja ofanya me ringing tone why sem obe review Mr. Review obe review ade ne se de da ho no mo no ehia adwen to a ye to a adwen emfafa ho se ne ya ebeye be review yes review but okane sa ne se ya so betwem mama so betwem MPP campaign message no 2020-2024 boss say video ni ye ready aboma me okay but health ne mama ye buy be education so review health or see health insurance ye kapay but ene wo buy no watwam de free ho etisika abandadana breso na health insurance odi remu no che say adobo akosoro aboroso because health insurance levy no ye for a purpose say Ghana for ebenya apomden papa uni say US aid Trump eba ye watwatwam but also oma create a coin for free betimi afa so sa gap sa space no e betimi ade afele etientie health de no na yemra.
We've also turned our attention with equal urgency to the health and well-being of our people. In 2025 alone, the national health budget increased by 13.4%, rising from 15.6 billion Ghana cedis to 17.8 billion cedis, one of the most significant increases in recent years. This bold step reflects our recognition of the urgent need to strengthen Ghana's healthcare system in the face of both domestic demands and global health risks. We've uncapped the NHIL and made 66% increase in funding to the National Health Insurance Scheme from 5.9 billion Ghana cedis to 9.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. This is not just a budget line, it's a life-saving commitment. These funds will help expand coverage, improve claims processing, and ensure that every Ghanaian, especially the poor and vulnerable, has access to affordable quality health care. The sudden withdrawal of 156 million in US aid health support, which previously sustained critical programs in malaria, HIV and AIDS, and child health, presented a serious fiscal and public health challenge. In response, we have readjusted our domestic expenditure priorities and ensured that the domestic safety nets are provided to cover the gap that occurred. To further bridge access gaps and enhance service delivery, government is investing over 2 billion Ghana cedis in healthcare infrastructure between now and 2028. This includes an initial 200 million cedis allocation in the 2025 budget to accelerate construction, expansion and modernization of hospitals, clinics and health centers nationwide. Whether in remote rural communities or high-density urban centers, our aim is the same, a health facility within reach of every Ghanaian. Cabinet is awaiting a report from the Honorable Minister of Health on the status and stage of completion of the Agenda 111 hospitals to determine a way forward for their completion. Our approach to economic management goes beyond improving the macroeconomic indicators. It's about making the Ghanaian household feel the impact in their everyday lives. As the popular saying goes, the real economy is not in statistics, but in the pockets of the people.
President Mahama say 8 months in near Ghana for Oka obeye ogusu Eoco. Economy no. It's not about Dr. Baumiankun no. There be why research. Hey, that's an unquad. Say your Becky Cowbom will be fire you for and I said no bequest. You say, oh, research I got information there. But economy no eja. Dr. Baumia, ye here's a baby na be lecture prekese basa. Ghana ni bottom, and I bet you say economy no eje. Say obi ekuta health insurance card. I can't remember health minister honorable Kwekwaji Memenu kan wo Ghana has say and then ukuta health insurance now call hospital per one kasa engagement adedi say enura ye de ma patients ni bebre spy. Yes, health minister na kan same way enura ni bebre spy. And then ebi also crack card no kwa o de kwakwa na yesanso jojo because abani entua abani ntua na yakopon boa ho so eduro na expire ye na man bi ko de num ni bi ko num ni ade ya paracetamol ni asesa de ama wo saa na wo ya de na soso no esan se sika no health insurance levy no ye boaboa no a ye di koye bibi fufura bibi no so kura ye hunu so faso e ye se ya capi scan se sika no de ye nya ni film no ye di rural health infrastructure mu se de kosisi hospitals and other clinics by President Mahama say oba ye no sa capi no ye de akosi awo odi ye oka ni nyina ekwan bia so ye betua but ye boni nyina da ano akom osan so kura kan wasi agenda 111 at the end of the day e Ghana for na beneficiaries baby a community for ye agenda 111 na ye sisi pillars no eno akene Japan say wo x no find the simple kura agenda 111 no nyina pillars ni nyina ya bobo so no osi health minister cabinet omuguso omo ye hu adwuma ekwan we wo so mu wie e ma Ghana for benefiting from that project no e yade a obetu hu anamo na umpewe upekoto bekuma upekoto bekuma eti yanko galamse su unim se illegal mining die ye how kese President Mahama kan wasi free su obaye no wo mi shu lances bia fama obi bia forest reserves akese enkunu ya na o mafade abo wo mo bono a wo mo sensuo onse ensuo bia ti efri eyi botanso efri forest mu ensuo bia ne namfom bia ni ti efri botanso ye no ma ye tire akurase ane ekọ forest afuo mu no asewo ye ka we ye so ote ase so efri botanso enti nsuo na omo hye forest ni mu na omo hye na wo mo sense ase ne ade no na etnia na obi aka achenkwana na menum asuo bire mu onum gata munso ya gata mu da so no mo ya mo pa mo ho asafo hene na asai eti director bo mame galano galamse no de President Mahama eka ye 8 months ni Forestry Commission, Minerals Commission, Gold Board, and Affairs, Lands and Natural Resources Ministry. No ma ye ede afa ho yentie no na yentoaso.
Culture of Galamsey is receiving much attention. We've established the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, as the Central Operations Command Center coordinating the national fight against illegal mining and its associated environmental degradation. In a coordinated effort across all security agencies and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, 440 excavators have been seized. Over 1,400 arrests have been made, with suspects awaiting prosecution. Over 300 Shamfang machines have been confiscated and destroyed. Over 900 water pumps seized from illegal mining sites have been handed over to the Ministry of Agriculture for distributing to farmers for irrigation purposes. Of Ghana's 288 forest reserves, 44 had previously suffered varying degrees of destruction from illegal mining. Notably, 9 of those reserves had become no-go zones due to the presence of armed groups. Through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and with support from the security agencies, we've successfully repossessed all 9 of these red-zoned forest reserves. However, over the weekend, the Jimira Forest Reserve and the Angria Futu section of the Offense Shelter Belt was re-invaded by illegal miners after these were handed back to the Forestry Commission. The military is currently working with NIMOS to repossess those reserves and establish a permanent presence in those liberated forest reserves to prevent re-incursion by illegal miners. 980 personnel have been recruited, trained and deployed in the western and savannah regions.
Okay, nti mentua so galamse so oboso na yenko yanim ene me se eno ana ye ene no enye gidigidi bia nye gidigidi bia butu bia adwuma na ye ba be ye wo hase afei oral so Operation Recover All Loot. Operation Recover All Loot. And what dear? On Sir President Mahama Baya Nasa Committee we what say na a Foreign Affairs Minister na nedano. Honorable Samokujeto Abla Kwanom Penifo bi Raymond Achanom and COP Kofi Buachenom na womu and former Auditor General Dom Levo na womu enyina ewomu ebi. Eti omo ye adwuma pa. Eti omo ye omo adwuma wie no sese no oru adwuma de nyina Attorney General na ye de amano. Enti no enura mikobisa ho asem because plea bargaining no na Ghana for no me say na menti ase minim se emra ye hye no 2022 eye mra ne da hodada but ye nsakraye wo mu ena che say plea bargaining ne ye de eba mu e director mo me question ne mame o eti me question ne ba wi a afa na President Mahama response no na ya bo me ko bisa say the law is the law ne de is the law but so the law is the law na President Mahama two person o kire ye say once the law is the law it will be wi wo man persika give to aware no I osesi bench nom ene kwabena dubu ahenom nipa de sani pa nim se onye dam onye hwepa lugu $12 million pa no de nsa bom ne ya tedi so the law is the law o metua no mfa ne huni ana eyesi sika no so o tam de akose $12 million ni nyina ni o tua kra sa ase no nipa de sani nim se Ghana hanom ayeti tire nkwan ya fam de kra isuo ta na enade ni sinsewiem efom de akra yenyen yosimi koye wiemu de efom de akra no yenyen wie usimi koye wiemu de ne yaka bom professor ameyakumfi $2 million no o ma wia so the law is the law enti no omuntua no mu fom ni ana enti question me bisa president no yentie ne ento aso
has the floor.
Patramidiri na na meja ko Nua TV. My question is oral. I'm saying, Mr. President, what can PFA oral? Now, the last accountability series, Attorney General, a statement in the read quoting I wish to remind you of the fact that when I announced the Kwabena Edubwahi investigation, I was blunt in stating the fact that I am open to engaging in plea bargaining with those who have been investigated and found to have looted or stolen state resources. I means no words about my intentions and will therefore not shut the door to any accused person willing to enter into negotiations with my office for purposes of reaching a plea agreement. Yenim say ya criminal and other offences procedure amendment act 2022 plea bargaining. But my question is say you fight corruption as attorney general state attorney say we be na upon the atokonomwa say we loot state resource and as a fund bra then me negotiate. Does it mean say so obeti asese sika na me fire no metua ye jai no ana ndi wo hono mo ana me question no that's
it. Justin.
Okay, I asemo we dey ya kan station dey ya bro for kan dey say ya o we ga TV3 ni na kan yan ya dey nya butre hye eyi ni baako o ahụ eti we say ni ye attorney general enu a me share na bisa asa question we because say one tia 2022 na MPP eye samra we di to hono mo a omo bo kronu ni nyina awie no mu ye se da bi the way ye lutu o man no ya ampe bibi the law is the law am ye ho ban ye bedam ye be wu prison ye be wu jail enti yenye samra we emfa to hono mo fa mo ye ho ban wo ba accuse NDC aban president Mahama ne attorney general say mo shedem na mo ye negotiations but not the law is the law mo ma me president Mahama response no na yentoa so president Mahama response mo fama me na yentoa so na yenko yanim enchiremu a wode ebaye me ba emra no me bia mo watie emra no me ba me bia sa emra no ama watie the law is the law no na wo hunu ba bia ade ani firi a eba ba bia ade ani firi ya eba aha na wahunu say enti no emra ni ne unim na emra ni da hono da criminal and other offences procedure amendment act 2022 plea bargaining act 1079 it is emra ni da criminal and other offences procedure ya amende no 2022 emu ne nya plea bargaining act 1079 it is amra 2022 na MPP fo ekoye ye kwa amende emra no eyi bi firi mu se wo ye boni bia emra ne fa bi mema ho kwan se brabe bagani but robbery no many other cases being nka ho but corruption no many other dey shame because omo ye de ma wo mo so be dey e be protect wo interest enti ne ya na me kan say politician interest ever first omo wan see dia of we are 100 Ghana cedis ni interest ye first so they say no politics e will be interest president Mahama ba ye de ono no e Ghana for interest etina na Akufo-Addo any attorney general no Godfrey ye bo adamenum nyina na kabo muo e na wo mo yes ye friend say plea bargaining act editor 1079 say ya bokro no ya ye bedem enu enti yenye mra we ni emfa mo ye ho ban na tie say akase the law is the law direct and patro say video na ye ready a mo mame sa video no president Mahama response ya wode ebaye na ye ntoa so emfa free honom enu na ehia papa because Ghana for ka say a very very sensitive question and enra me de ma president John Dramani Mahama no na ye ntie anu yi a president Mahama ede ebaye enti me patro mo mame na ye nkoye nim
senya okay no MPP abreso mo de nhihye bi ban ayemra se aban de wudi efa case bi ho se ebia wa fiscal na bibia o akwenya obetimi aka se yo ene aban case na mode kwedu amode bomino me sande sika na se agudie bia na se bibia mode bomi kwedu no me sande aba se ne be ya monfa me nkoto how do they call imprisonment if you say monfa me nkoto if you say enti ayemra edaho enti obi a yabo no kwedu bia ewo tumi se obeka se you ene yentwa so na memfa se imra na enjai sa you know enti eno enye aban ene beka eye nipa ye de na kujina court And so say oka say oh munjai asem no mu na me fa say mra na say agudie bia me fire me san fa mra na say japade bia me fire me san fa mra na say bibi aban wa kwanya say be ka say de bi enje na ye beto aso any case no enti ejina case no any nipa ne ye enti still aban Wontumi say even though wako emra na say aka say me pese me san ede bibi bema aban na that we've not wavered in our commitment for even a moment.
Said the law is the law now and but any cases ni na man you the oka ya say any cases bia obi ti say kwabla dubu ahi say sa no one national signal bureau devices here so akwakoto yi a sika $7 million ya obi a separate account wa one na yire elu tudi kogu mu no enu ye betimi age but stolen vehicles no sa nkofo cars na ekina membre mu video ati CCTV no mo kwasete ya na capture na ile ni fie on mo cham de bebre mu so sa no ne de eno no ye ma wuntua eno no bedam wo ho but ye $7 million de you will pay. Say Chema Wontumi say Exim Bank you kwaje $10 million so de kwakoye ayifu yi aburofu yi a wodi yi eno ne ye beji usika but ye gise sika ni wi a the next year wo mine na wo borua ye forest reserves mu a wan kasa wa ban ebe ka kire ye say wo ye mu insurance bia fama eno no wontimi ntwa ye ka because your land your resources are what sell your forest yes eno say wo betimi adem so but bibi say professor me yakunfi so timi so mu use no mu di $2 million no onu say also be refund betimi amanetua but said bibi to say gift your worry pa lady na say bia maka kire say onu gift your worry refund this no because of plea bargaining the law is the law and over the president Mahama Kagana form fan change this ya mind da and then Kagana form fan chamo da God's name si pa ma ekwamo den krofo eno de se moye sa bia ba sikan de mo nji sikan so kwa de so mu twia pa na no obi ka kire me se ni na aka hu bi ntina reset ni ko so tire monya sika wa sister yeso mu de amika di sikan e ba lutas ne de ba but be bre so be dem because the law is the law afei so far attorney general investigations dudu a wa ye docket dudu a ye ready pa docket na ye ready a ya fa court me conscience entrofo ye nye wo judgefo ene nye who prosecutors ya fa court mo na court process ne course no na wo gada more evidence na de court na wo update ye ne ye ti ase enti no enu so ye ntie president Mahama ensam a wo kan ye e de fa ho.
Neither have we been complacent. What you are witnessing is not inaction, it is a steadfast adherence to due diligence, due process, and fairness in the pursuit of justice. Yes, our insistence on doing things the right way may afford those who have looted this country some temporary relief, but let me be clear, it will not grant them permanent escape. Across multiple fronts, active pursuits and prosecutions are well underway under the Operation Recover All the Loot. Over 200 cases are under active investigation, with about 80 people interrogated so far. Several prosecutions have begun, progressing steadily and remaining firmly on course. In the Republic versus Edubuan and 3 others, the state has submitted witness statements together with all other documents, and trial has commenced. And the first of 3 prosecution witnesses have been called and have been cross-examined by counsel for the accused person. With the SkyTrain case, for instance, the prosecutors have secured a trial date, as all preliminary matters have been concluded and the trial is set to commence. For the National Service Authority case, due to its expansive nature, charges have been drafted and will be filed as soon as the legal year begins against the following person: the Republic versus Osei Sibe, the Republic versus Eric Nyaku, the Republic versus Gifty Owari. Also for the National Cathedral, we are waiting a forensic audit from the Auditor General. Additionally, charges have been drafted and are ready for filing in the case of Republic versus Wontumi and Akonta Mining, Akonta mining. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, Eoco, is finalizing its report with respect to Exim Bank transactions. Dockets are in preparation for the buffer stock case and the drip equipment case. Investigations are ongoing into the African Cup of Nations case, the Mart set case, and approximately 20 other cases currently. Let me be clear, every single case of corruption that needs to be investigated is being looked into. And once evidence is found to ground the prosecution, that will happen and happen swiftly. Looking within, we launched a code of conduct for public officials with an insistence on strict compliance. A high-level working group has been inaugurated to draft a new anti-corruption strategy aimed at strengthening ethical governance and institutional coordination. My fellow citizens, the scourge of Galamsey is receiving much attention.
Okay, eti enura media encounter na nepo ene ya bobo so no ye benya bre ye besanso aba ne ye biebie mu pidi ama but